And we're back. Hi, it's Lisa, and welcome back to Iron Woman Talks, where I am talking about divorce and the different things that I have been really scared to open up about in public for sure. I mean, I just can't believe I'm doing this. And definitely a lot of these things I have not opened up to even some of my closest friends. Just too afraid to admit some of these things to myself. And I've started to figure out that, you know what, a lot of people are thinking the same things that I'm thinking, and they're going through the same feelings that I have felt a long time ago. And what do we do with these things? And so tonight's talk, I put out there, how did I fall into the Cinderella trap? How did I hide inside of that? And I'm asking you too, how are you hiding inside of this Cinderella story? Because this is what we're taught as little girls to, and the boys too. Hey Jeff, I see that you're on here. Yes, I know you know the Cinderella story just as well as I do. It comes from both sides, from the women and the men. And we're taught, you know what? Look pretty, go to this ball, and work hard first your whole life. Get pretty, go to the ball, and have this guy. Who else is on here? Go on and find this guy, or actually he's supposed to find us and rescue us from all of this hard work that we women are going through. And he's got to be rich for sure, and handsome as ever, don't forget that one, and just swoop us off our feet into this beautiful life that we are supposed to have forever and ever. And that's not what's happening out there. And you know what? I'd like to rewrite that story, because what we don't know right now actually is what happened to Cinderella. She actually couldn't get pregnant from the prince because he had a low semen count. And then she was really pissed off at these stepsisters of hers and her stepmother for treating her like shit. And so she got them to work at her castle for her, while she decided to open up her own business and work on that, some new cleaning product that can clean the floors once and they don't have to be done again for another month. They're all shiny. And during that time, the sisters and the stepmother really felt sorry for her doing what they did, and they apologized to Cinderella. They became their own business women, and opened up their own castles and moved on. And this type of thing. I mean, this is what's really happening out there these days. And no, I'm not one that follows Kylie Jenner, but you know what? I just heard today that she is the youngest billionaire out there in the world. So good for her. I don't think that there's any Cinderella story happening there. I think that she can fend for herself and take care of herself. And that's what I'm talking about here too, because what's happening in these marriages is that, and I still see it now, I see it so much, and I see it a lot with even the younger generation that's going on. Still that same thing. I want that 1-carat ring, and I want the house, and I want the handsome guy, I want all the stuff, and I don't want to work, so let's have a bunch of babies and then I can stay at home. And I admit, you know what, there was a part of me that was kind of falling into this trap. And but subconsciously, like in the back of my mind, I knew it just didn't feel right for me, this type of thing. I mean, I always worked. I had my own job, that's for sure. I worked and I stayed at home. I did both. And there's a lot of value in that. There is a lot of value as well as being a stay-at-home mom, stay-at-home dad too, and the other one works. But I think as long as both people are on board that this is your business and this is your commitment to each other. Because what I found personally is that, well, because I fell into this. Like I said, I mean, my ex-husband worked hard, had a great job, did really well financially. We had all the bells and whistles, no doubt about that. But what I was finding is that inside myself, because I wasn't happy with maybe the profession, not maybe, I wasn't happy with the profession that I picked. And yeah, I just wanted to stay home and I wanted to be with these kids. But I knew that eventually that pattern was going to end. And I'm seeing this with a lot of people out there as well. They're hiding behind their husband's work because God forbid we lose the house, or I can't go on the trips, or I can't have the Lululemon clothing. This type of thing. God forbid that I don't have any of these things. And these guys are making all the money, and yes, like I said, tremendous value with looking after the kids. But if what's happening inside of yourself, if you're saying, I want to do more with my life, but I don't know what this is, and I don't want to rely on him for the money. I mean, I'm not sure how this works with some people, if you get an allowance or it's just a free-for-all one bank account and you can do whatever you want with it. I don't know. But I'm telling you what's happening out there, and you're afraid to look at this and admit it, and no one wants to go there, is that things can happen where the marriage falls apart and or someone dies. I've seen this a lot with my friends as well. Lots of husbands passing on, and young, and these women aren't working, and hopefully there's money there that you know what to do with and that you can move on. But I'm seeing it with some other people too, where the guys, this is just a few examples that I've run into where, yeah, all the bells and whistles, and things are falling apart in the marriage, and the guys are snorting it all up their nose and pouring it down their throats. The money's going down the drain, and the women are sitting there going, okay, what am I supposed to do now? I mean, I thought that this was going to last forever and ever and ever. And it's not. It's not happening. So, get back to how I was hiding under this. Yeah, I didn't want to face it. I thought, you know what? I'm just going to have my own little world here where I can just work on the weekends and I can be home with my kids Monday to Friday and do all the amazing things with them, get them to school, have dinner on the table every night at 5 o'clock, get them off to all their sports and activities. And in the day, I can work out and do all the things that I love to do. But you know what? The marriage fell apart, and here I am finding a place on my own. And what do I do? So, luckily, I still had a great career, and I started working full time to get back at that. And where I'm going with this is that it gave me a lot of self-worth where I didn't have to rely on someone else for the income. And like I said, I'm not saying that that is a bad thing. It's just when you're thinking that things are going to last forever, and that he can just keep on bringing that money home and I can just keep on doing what I'm doing here, it might not happen forever. So where I'm going with this is having this self-awareness inside of yourself, saying, okay, what can I do about this type of thing so that I am feeling not rescued and not just valued for how I look, but for who I am and how I contribute to my own life. And I'm telling you, I mean, it's a big thing to go through. It's very, very difficult to let go of this old story that we've been brought up with. And I can see it with the guys. They that are going through the divorces now, they are very resentful, extremely resentful of the women getting half of all of what they've accumulated. For instance, I've seen a lot of guys say, I can't believe that she is getting half of my RSPs. Well, I'm sitting here saying, you know what? Together, you had this business together in the house. However you want to look at it and however it was working out. But what's happening is both internal struggles. The women not wanting to be riding on the guy's coattails, and the guys also not wanting to be like this Prince Charming that has to do everything out there, bringing home the money and doing all of this so that we can have this incredible lifestyle. I know this isn't for everybody. I'm just saying that there are what I am seeing and what I'm being aware of that's out there. So, like I said, whether you are entering marriage, whether you're married, whether you're going through divorce, whether your spouse has passed on, it's really getting back to what is it that brings me the most joy and how I'm contributing and how I can take care of myself. How is that? And like I said, for me, I didn't want to ever work full time again. I thought, oh my God, how the fuck am I ever going to do that? Go back to work full time. Well, there was my wake up call, and it's been extremely rewarding for myself. And it would have been, I think, more rewarding for me maybe in my marriage too. I was just so afraid to step into that, thinking I had to be home all the time, and not necessarily did I have to be. So it was getting back to that. And also now, I am in full control of how I spend my money, who I spend it on, how I spend it, what I like, what I want, just like the new Ariana Grande song. I like it, I want it, and I got it. Absolutely. This is where I'm going with now. That it's having that, like I said, you know what? A full connection with yourself, that you know how to take care of yourself no matter what in any of these situations that are occurring. Because that story of Cinderella is not happening anymore. I mean, I don't know who it's happening to, quite frankly. And who would want to even have that type of situation? I think it's much better to be able to experience something like this and knowing full well of everything that you've got to take care of for yourself. I mean, paying for your own place, buying all the furniture that you need, taking yourself on trips, being able to treat yourself the way you want to be treated, all the things that you want to do. It's very, very empowering for yourself. It's invigorating. It's a beautiful experience to be able to have with yourself. It's lifelong learning these type of skills that you need for yourself. And also, I just want to say a little bit for the guys here is that, you know what? It's not a bad thing that all of this has happened. Hey, Sharon, thanks for coming in. You know what? These guys, too, I mean, here they are brought up that this is what they've got to do out there for us. And what an incredible responsibility to be putting on someone. How about it being a little bit more shared and out in the open, where couples can talk about this stuff? And I found it extremely difficult to be able to talk about this in my marriage because I don't know if it was that I felt like embarrassed or not enough, this type of thing. I think there was a little bit of all of that. And I know that he had a lot of resentment towards this too. And it's just about being able to get past that old Disney story, which is a beautiful story, no doubt about it. But it's just not giving women and men a real take and reality check on what's happening out there. There's so many other things. So that's all I'm going to say for tonight. It's been just a pleasure to be able to open up about this and about the feelings that I had, that I was going through. And it's okay if you're having these kind of feelings within yourself, but being able to talk about them together. I know it's a really difficult thing, but it's okay in the marriage if you're having these things. You can talk about these feelings with each other. I think it's a wonderful thing to say, you know what? I want to do more. I want for us to grow together in this thing, rather than hiding and thinking that everything's just going to be perfect forever and ever, because it just doesn't go that way. Anyways, thanks for listening in, you guys, and have a beautiful night. If you want to take a look at this again on my website, IamAnIronWoman.com, please do. And I will see you next week for another talk. I believe it's why I just didn't give a shit anymore about the finances in my marriage. And that'll be an awesome one to listen into too. Okay, have a great night.